So, hello everyone, it's Ru and Stu in the shed, which actually brings us to an interesting question. Ruth, why are you in the shed? What's the shed all about?
Well, I turned the shed into a little prayer space when we did the 24/7 prayer, and I was reading the book by Greg about having a prayer space, and sometimes even if you can't find the words, if you're in your prayer space, then that's the place to be. And so the shed was born. Trevor let me have a sofa in, and I bought lots of posters and things like that, so that's how it came about.
And fishing nets. Come on, Ruth, you're not going to catch anything here.
No. Well, it was our verse of the year about catching fishers of men, becoming fishers of men. So we had them hanging around in the garden. So I brought them in as a reminder that we're catching people. God.
Lovely. Okay, and who are we chatting to then today?
We have got Alice, the lovely Alice Cheeseman. Welcome, Alice.
Hi.
Hi. I don't need to ask you how you came to come to KBC, but how did you come to faith?
Oh, so when I grew up in church all my life. My parents have always been at church, and so I went along as well. And as I slowly grew up, I don't think I've ever technically fully grown up, but as I slowly aged up, I slowly found myself falling in love with God for myself. And when I was year 6, so about 10 or 11, I had my first, I don't want to call it a bet with God because that seems slightly heretical, but I was a proper nerd. I loved maths, I loved school, I loved education, and I loved learning. And I had to go out for a music lesson, came back, and I didn't understand, I think it was ratios. And the teacher was like, by the way, this may end up being on the SAT, so end of year before you go into secondary school, maybe in there, so you need to make sure that you've got this down. My brain went into a panic of, oh my goodness, I don't know what this is, I can't get it, I'm going to fail everything, what's the point of life? And I made a bet with God that night, because the next day I had a test, like just a comprehension, do you understand ratios, right? If I get 10 out of 10, because it's still primary school where there's only 10 questions, if I get 10 out of 10, I'll follow you for the rest of my life. And I got 10 out of 10s, and I kind of went, okay, you kept your side of the deal, like, I'll keep mine. And I've followed God ever since, and had a bit of a journey, and it's been really good fun. And I'm now here. So yeah.
Could I clarify, was this just a one-off, or was it part of the deal that God made you get 10 out of 10 in every exam for the rest of your life?
Oh, I wish. I wish. I am not an A-star student.
And Alice, where did you grow up?
I grew up a couple of miles down the road in Banbury, so quite close.
Cool.
Incidentally, Alice, I'm totally with you. I think growing up is overrated.
Yeah.
And how did you come to meet Scott?
So, I grew up in Banbury, and Scott grew up also down the road in a slightly different direction in Toaster. So we grew up pretty close to each other and never met. And I started looking at universities when I finished sixth form, and I was stuck between if I wanted to go into teaching or if I wanted to go into youth work. And I went to a little university campus in London called Oasis, and looking at the youth work. And there was a couple of people who were from the year above that were sat on the little like student area, and met Scott. And it was not love at first sight. I thought he was very loud, and I was a very, very quiet person. And so I kind of went, okay, fine. That year group is a little loud and scary, but it's fine. It's fine. I then applied and got in. It was the only university I could get into, but I got into uni, and they went, by the way, you're going to be put into a placement where you get to do youth work for 3 years, you'll be there, so we need to make sure it's the right one. And I got put into a placement in Whitstable, so Kent way. And they went, by the way, there is another student. And I was like, okay, that's fine, you know, it'd be good to have some. And like, his name's Scott. He's a bit of a character, but you'll be fine, don't worry. And so moved into Whitstable, and my line manager went, when we're moving in, my parents met the line manager, you know, dropping the only child off. They're like, we want to know who you're going to be looking with. And met the line manager, and she went, oh, have you met Scott yet? And my parents went, and she went, no, you haven't met him. You would know if you've met Scott. And we're like, oh, okay, right. And so over time, we ended up doing lots of youth groups together for a couple of years, and we started dating by Christmas. I'm rubbish with dates, I don't remember anything. Around Christmas of my first year, and then he's put up with me ever since.
Oh. So, we know now that Scott is loud and a bit of a character. I'm sure sure there's some other secrets you could spell. I mean, there's nobody but Ruth and me listening, apart from everybody in YouTube.
Minus the entirety of the internet.
Yeah. So come on. What is Scott really like?
He always means well. That's the one thing I have learned from. His mouth sometimes runs faster than his brain, but he always has good intentions with whatever he's saying, even if it's not the most thought out. But he's very genuine, and what you see is what you get with him. He's not one of those who's loud and energetic and a massive character, and then goes back home and he's just very quiet, and he's very loud all the time, which we're a good contrast. I'm very quiet and introverted, and as much as I'm introverted, he is extroverted and loud and energetic.
Was it a frustration for you that you didn't then get a youth work job?
I don't think there was so much of frustration. I am fully qualified to do youth work, as is my lovely, lovely husband, Scott. And we decided that, because he was in the year above, so he already had a job by the time I was in my final year. And we had the agreement, because some bits weren't working out where he was staying, that we'd both go for interviews, and whoever got the first job, if we felt that that was where we were supposed to go, that person would be the youth worker, and the other one would volunteer and have a normal job, whatever normal is. And then we kind of keep, and then if more stuff comes up, then I look at that. But at the moment, I think I'm doing enough for KBC and the volunteering. I feel like I'm part of the family and doing quite a bit already.
Well, I mean, to me, it looks a bit like one of those supermarket offers, buy one and get one free.
I mean, that's kind of how we've ended up working.
Yeah. So, Alex, what do you do? What is your job? Your proper job?
My normal life job. Yeah. So, my normal life job is I'm a ward manager's assistant for our 2 local hospitals, and I help out the ward sisters for 2 or 3 wards and a couple of outpatients, and they send me different jobs to do. It's mainly the HR side of, this person's leaving, can you put in all the forms so they get paid correctly? And so I do a lot of HR work. I get to order random things, like from business cards to uniform. I make posters and graphics for my boss. I'm a bit of an odd jobs person, where they go, none of us can be bothered to do it, we'll give it to Alice, which I am more than fine with.
That sounds a great job.
It is.
And what are your passions? And I do have a little idea of what your passions might be, but what do you like doing? What sets your heart to race out of?
Ooh, so I like volunteering. I'm very passionate about helping out. I do quite a bit here. I help out with another church. It's an online church which I help out with. But I'm very passionate about video games and arts and crafts. And I'm looking around because I'm sat at my desk and I have a massive pile of pens that side of me and a wall that side of me.
I know you like all your crafts and your drawing. And
I mean, your window display was amazing at the church. So I mean,
it wasn't just me that did that. I cannot take all the credit. I had Ruth and Trevor help me, and I had Matt and Amy, and we had lots of friends help make that a reality. So I cannot take credit for that one.
Alice, you were the inspiration behind us to do it, and so that's great.
Alice, the inspiration. I like that.
Oh no, that's far too much pressure.
And, how's lockdown been for you? Obviously you've been working, so but in general, how have you found it?
It's been interesting. I think that's the main term. Like I said, I've been at work. I've taken up more bits and bobs now than I've ever taken. So my hours are completely shifted for actual work, and then I edit this. I do social media stuff for the church. I do lots of little bits and bobs. The main thing that's changed is everything that was in person is now shifted onto Zoom, and that's the main difference.
Yeah. So do you do a lot of crochet? What sort of things do you make with your?
I'm currently working on a scarf that's not working at all and is very slow.
It's like nice colours.
Yeah. But I've been making quite a few dice bags. So I've got a few friends that enjoy playing like tabletop games, and they always end up with odd counters and dice that are just lying around. So I've made little bags for them to put them all in.
Oh, cool. And I'm thinking about lockdown. If you could choose two people to share your lockdown, did you ever think about the people you'd like to?
I did. So both of them are alive, which makes life slightly easier. Just a tiny bit.
Vivian and Thomas made the point that they're probably much more fun to be with if they're alive.
Yeah. One of them is one of my best friends. She lives in London, and we try to catch up every couple of weeks, and I miss her. And it would be nice to hang out with her in person. And we have lots of plans for when COVID's finally finished and we can hang out again. We have a massive list of movies and stuff that we just go, let's go do this. And the other one is, there is a lovely leading lady of the West End called Kerry Fletcher.
Okay.
And I quite enjoy musicals. I've been to one when I was about 12, but I love musicals and music in general. And she is going to be starring in the new Andrew Lloyd Webber musical called Cinderella. And I just think it'd be fascinating to spend time with her and learn.
That's great. And have you got a favourite Bible verse?
I do. It is from Psalm 139, and it's verse 14, which is, I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Don't ask me what translation I'm using. But I love that verse because I have lots of I when I was growing up had a lot of identity and mental health, interesting fun stuff, and I've always gone back to this verse because it's like, no, I am who I'm supposed to be. My weirdness is how God made me, and that's fine. and he's okay with me being a bit bizarre and enjoying sitting cross-legged on chairs while chatting to hundreds of people online, and that's who I am, and that's okay.
Oh, Alice, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Just going back to lockdown, I mean, it must have been a real challenge doing youth work in lockdown. I mean, what were the particular issues that you'd say were difficult?
Well, the first thing is we can't meet in person.
Mm.
I haven't seen some of our young people in a year now. Oh, that's scary. It'll be over a year when this comes out. And so we don't get to see them. We don't get to throw balls. We don't get to play games. We don't get to do the really dumb, stupid stuff that we probably shouldn't be getting away with. And I miss getting to actually be stupid with young people and create massive sculptures out of cardboard boxes and throw eggs around the car park and all the stupid things that happen at youth groups. So we don't get to do that anymore, but we have managed to move some of it online. So we have a Sunday evening group and we get to do that, and we see some of the kids there and we have really good fun time. We have lots of challenges and we get to chat about God and the fun faith stuff. And yeah, so it's a different dynamic. But I miss seeing our young people.
I mean, you mentioned mental health, and I mean, there must be a lot of potential mental health issues for people who are not getting to school, who are not getting to their youth group, and who maybe are looking to talk about it.
I've found when chatting to other people, this lockdown's been harder than all the others. Mm-hmm. One of our young people said, the first one was fine because we had summer holidays. Yeah. The second one was fine because we had Christmas. This one, there's no. The big event is you can go outside again and you can see friends. There's not the expectation. So mixing that with winter and like cold and it's always dark. I mean, this week was the first week where I got in and out of work and it was light both ways, which is really nice because I quite like the sun. But it's just been very dark and gloomy as winter is. And it can be quite isolating when you're sat by yourself. Because I'm quite lucky. I have a husband who's upstairs who's very loud. But some people are by themselves, and when it's dark and lonely all the time, they don't always have people to reach out to.
Alice, you could throw eggs at Scott.
Don't give me that idea. We rent this house, we can't afford that.
Well, I'm not saying you should do it, but if you do it, can you video it for us?
Of course I can.
Yeah. Look, I just want to say, Alice, that you have made the most amazing contribution to KBC and all the different things that you've done with the music, with the youth work, using your talent through video editing. Amazing contribution, so thank you.
It's the least I can do.
The same.
So, Ruth, what else do we need to find out in this unique opportunity? Cromwell's coming on. Cromwell, look at the camera. Cromwell, look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Hi.
Alice, you love Alice. Stuart, sometimes I do call round by Alice and Scott's, and he's so pleased to see Alice. He just runs past Scott's straight to you, doesn't he? He would like to ask.
Well, I mean, frankly, a lot of people do that, I think.
He would like to ask you, dogs or cats?
Now, that's not a very difficult question for me.
No.
It's definitely dogs.
Yay!
Dogs are a lot nicer and they don't sit on your face.
And Cromwell loves you, don't you? You love your Alice. Thank you, Alice.
Sorry.
Well, it's not totally scientific, but we are accumulating evidence that more people in KBC like dogs than cats.
We are. But then I think, are they just being kind to Cromwell?
Well, I mean, there's no pressure. Just Cromwell will come out and bite you if you say the wrong thing.
No.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's the time is running out, and I just remains for me to say thank you, Alice, for sharing with us, and that we will hopefully be back next week with a brand new show.